etia pa basabre ya yenya ba yenya kwanya se ene akoye da foforo na sanso ye de di kan e wo na wotwe foforo yi mu de yentoto sade ya se abusia for Dwaboase upon 97.9 mretia wayi mu no ye bedi Ghana nkomo ye bekasa for my Ghana ho ye bekasa for ya manyosemu bakwahye hia ye busa sabre titiriu efa manyoku a epese di animu ne nsakraye ba o my Ghana eye NDC ene se wo mu bobre wo my Ghana manyosemu no say ne sitie NDC kro mu gira made what do they stand for ade akra na wo NDC adwirimu NDC tie pa ma adwirimu say ya ne hwemu a ade ne wo mu tirimu ade na mo mo yesoronko ade na wo NDC ho a e wo se do amanfo kon se omu na betimi ahwe my Ghana so wa bra ye kwayenim wo sabre ya ye da kwawe so wo sabre ya ye wo se ye mu no ade ti na amanfo nya strategy no. That's the conversation we are going to have this morning right here on Power 97.9 and of so TV XYZ. Yeah, we're being for be studio. I say, oh yeah, we're being pa. He's written a number of books, and what church a man for P. Adia, I was Yapon, Ogusu. I wanted to a man for Eso Monsa said a beya, woman so bad to us, or baby or yes, you know. Sanso Bernard Odro Techia, why chartered economist, Sanso, a member of the NDC, Beba Bekai Home, Wabra Yedin Komo. But in the Monamica, say, in Comotuki and Kosono, Samekama no 2 from Mensaka promo no one, and just a Mensaka Banaria. Besramo, Obian dial star 274 hash, star 274 hash. Answer that you made your Babanaria, you bet you'll be 1,000 Ghana cities. I mean, radio station bang and not TV station bang, and as a worship program and a wood tier programmer. Yes, I chose Sika. XYZ. Sika Pudoya and Zaka and Kayadam Wahanaki Bashan, or Sika and the screen. So remember, one munti, and yet this is Sikayaba. Send your Musi Shay TNT, and yet this is Sikayaba. Say, Mudia, it dial star 274 hash. Said by 1,000 cities, 500 ya, Yachiche, also on Sabakabi. I'm a studio now for me. Welcome, your guests and pay a word you made so. But I can't say also come with my mentonka. Well, but I hear to drink come way, Menquanum tum, and yes, I won't quite what you wash. My mentonka or WhatsApp so 020-898-4166 and of so Facebook a Power 979 YouTube a XYZ Broadcasting TV XYZ Ghana and also our Facebook. Mamento nka wo baby a wo bia sade be ya won so wadwen kire ne wonsusu ye no obetimi adan na di na mansan nyina so atonka te sade be di kankan no ena ye nkomo na mu odu pa ye nkomo bia wo se edi ena baby a ya bedru ne nti ne enti a ye di nkomo no simply because of this one mampanyina mu age atumu se baby o man ga na adru no adeso na mu odudodo ono ankasa wontimi nswa and for which reason was it penny and one am kwaso a woban and the leader come in one mom and a bit maswa sa this one. Number 2, now ya within this weekend. A year Canada Japan one also pretty debre so baba franketuni ama NPP amanyuku wojina simpie so etu nanumu tuo say wo baby a yadu no 2022 and omo NPP omo chance say wo mudi nkuguo e wo 2024 abana yenya ntoye na ye ba beto no 2022 and omo chance say omo di nkuguo. So this means say if NPP cannot do it, usually and typically we tend to the NDC. Ediana wa NDC wa eyesronko a ye benya rehemu ani gide wo mumu say ampa wo mo ene betima boa agi Ghana every or how you mo. Abusiafo mo ba bebo ankomo medical bomudi Bernard Odro Techie, chartered economist and member of the NDC, and also Professor Harold Bukari Matheson, a author or so a NDC activist. Prof I say my prof wa bra BOT Atenase kama nana Atenase well Atenase nana Atenase BOT mom ye henchano and channel papa finally they get to meet for the first time. Prof Was you are great?
No. I'm Mason West. You are great.
Wow, wow. Prof, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And our viewers and listeners are excited having you as well. Good to have you, Prof.
Thank you.
I hope all is well.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you're meeting BOT for the first time.
That's the first time I've met BOT, but I've been listening to BOT. And anytime at all, wherever I am, BOT is talking.
Yeah.
I ask my children to wake me up. With my notebook taking news, even though I'm not an economist.
Yeah.
But I've learned something from BOT.
Absolutely. And
fantastic.
We sort of eavesdrop on your conversation with him a while ago when he said he's great. You really mean that?
That's
right?
true. That's true.
You mean he's great?
He is great. He's great.
In what sense?
Academically, intellectually, socially, and otherwise.
Wow. Beauty. As already with your home.
You understand because serendipity. That is when great staff meets.
Yeah.
You know, and let me say good morning to your viewers and your listeners. And 7 years ago, I bought his book called The Mahama Factor.
Wow.
I have a friend currently in Korea. So I saw him holding that book titled The Mahama Factor. And I was like, at that time I was in MPP.
Now we're MPP.
Yeah. I was
and I'll a book.
And I bought the book.
Wow.
So I wanted a copy from Zileri. He denied me. So I was then coming from Legon to, I think, National Theatre.
Right.
And I saw those people who be holding those stuff in the traffic. And the guy told me he had only a copy of that book. Titled The Mahama. I bought that book.
Oh, next is a copy.
One. And I read the book cover for cover.
Wow.
I read the whole book thrice.
The Mahama Factor.
And it was written by him.
Wow. Professor Matheson.
Yes. So that book gave me inclination of what brought Mahama into politics, how he was nominated in 2008 against, at that time, the wishes of the Rawlinses, and how Mahama created the new face and a new scene for the NDC. So I'm also happy meeting him. And in Ngugi Watengo said one thing, that when an old man dies, it's like burning down a library.
And what about you? What about you?
Ngugi Watengo says, Akokra na bewewu a, and they said they wash a whole library. Because
Nyansa ninim bia no.
What
the call? I don't think I have here say you be this and come away. And now whilst Prof you're here, I mean I'm sure it won't be far fetched to ask you your own evaluation of the country that you love so much, our own country, Ghana. I mean, and I'm asking you this question at a time where a number of people in the academia are refusing to speak. What's your evaluation of the state of this country? Are you happy in this country? Prof.
Thanks so much for this question. But before then, Prince, Achemi, my country is Mentishui Papa. Santi.
That's right.
Fellow Ghanaians, Metina Bruchi, 26 years. Now, Mefri Tamali.
Okay.
Me da gombani.
Okay.
Santi me pa chao. Achemi, nanka me cabra for pap. Nanka me cabra for.
And yes, what about from my?
Now, thanks so much, Prince.
Yes.
Coming back to your question, am I so happy in this country as it is now?
Yeah.
Well, as senior comrade, Chrissy Pratt always refer or say that we have been around. So also I've been around. I mean, within academia, you don't have your age. I was born 10th March 1945. So Nanado is 1 year my senior. Now, during the time of Nkrumah, from Nkrumah to our present-day president, things have been different. Why things have been different? The economy, as you know, Beauty will tell us, is not as it was. But historically, let me accentuate here. Within the limits of the historical antecedents from Nkrumah up to today, the the history, the political history of Ghana had never ever been properly told. Up to the point of asking Ghanaians, more so our children, who is the founder of Ghana? Come on. There is no founder of Ghana other than Kwame Nkrumah. Period.
There's no founder.
There's no founder of Ghana other than Kwame Nkrumah. And I'll come to it. Now, before we come to the historical antecedents, you and I, of course, BOT will remember, it was the Fanti Confederation of Chief Gatti IV and his 11, 12, chiefs who started it all when the British were preparing to leave. They wanted to take over.
Yeah.
Good. They stayed in this activism between 1868 1872. Not long. Then came the Aborigines Protection Society of Jacob C. And of course, Mamenta, Mensa Saba. Of course, this one sitting by me, BOT will not agree with me, but because you always know someone, a vandal. A vandal just like JTM.
Right.
So, well, on a lighter note.
Yes.
So here, Mensa Saba and the rest of them, they came in 1897. Now, here, again, they did not stay, the Aboriginal Protection Society did not stay long. Then came a Gold Coaster who has stayed long in Britain, a businessman, a merchant, a timber merchant, arrived in the Gold Coast there about 1946-47. And he named himself Grant. That is the abbreviation, George Alfred Grant.
Okay.
He first met Dr. J.B. Dankwa and revealed to Dr. J.B. Dankwa that he had come back from Europe, precisely United Kingdom, and he had successfully bought and licensed a book which he named as SS Asini. And that it was time for the Gold Coasters to indigenize politics.
Okay.
And why did he approach Dr. J.B. Dankwa? Because J.B. Dankwa was a newspaper owner, very vibrant, an academic, a lawyer, etc., etc. So J.B. Dankwa established that. It was not he who rallied, the Gold Coast intellectuals and intelligentsia, but a man by name Dr. E.B.C. Nankabrush.
Okay. He would do that job.
He would do that
and
job.
Rallying people around.
Because he was the most senior intellectual within the Gold Coast terrain.
To rally people around the new
That's right.
Political party.
That's right.
UGC. Right.
Good. So what happened? Here, Dr. J.B. Dankwa wrote a letter to Dr. E.V.C. Nankabrush asking that people be rallied, and they were 23 in number.
Okay. 23.
23.
23.
My reference of this letter is Rev 587/47/17th July 1947.
Wow. At that time, what was the role of J.B. Dankwa again? What was his role?
J.B. Dankwa was only,
to propagate the message.
Intermediary.
Okay.
Should I say he was the crutch?
Okay.
Involved.
Okay. Because he owned a newspaper.
A newspaper.
Right.
Good. Now, why did I say that the history of the Gold Coast through Ghana had not been properly told? Let me come in here. We hear later of the Big Six. I'll come to that and then mention some few members of the 23. People whose parents were involved in the Big Six have arrogated it to themselves that these were the founders, or these were the pioneers, these were the people who founded modern Ghana. Where is the name of Ben A. Tamakulu? Because the thing is, after J.B. Dankwa had written to them, precisely on that 17th July 1947, they were to meet at a place they call Roja Club. Most of our colleagues in the academia have refused to name Roja Club in all their writings, in all their lectures. So people like, as I said, Ben A. Tamakulu was around, Joe Myers was around, and of course, the big six, all of them were involved. Then Councillor Adumwa Bosman, that is the father of, a former colleague at a media station, a media,
outlet.
That is Carlos Vombrasi, the father, was around. Joe Myers, as I said, was around. And so many of them. 23, including, of course, Pagrant and then J.B. Dankwa.
So they formed
they met at the Roja Club. The letter was written 17 July, and as I said, those who may wish to disagree to agree with us should look out for that reference. Reference number 587/47 of 17 July 1947.
Wow. And
they were to meet on the 19th. That was a Saturday. 19 July 1947 at 5 p.m. at Roja Club. And that was where the decision was taken unanimously that 4th August 1947, a party named as UGCC or United Gokus Convention should be launched at Sorbonne.
Okay.
And indeed, it was done. Good. Here, there is a missing link. Nkrumah was not yet around. And where was Nkrumah? Nkrumah at that time had left the US and then landed in Britain to continue with studies in law. He had already prepared his PhD thesis in the US, but not presented. So, Casely Hayford, who was the acting general secretary, was not up to the task as members of the UECD. But Akwaje, who had been in the US with Nkrumah, knew how Nkrumah was so sophisticated in organization. So he turned to his seniors, that is J.B. Dankwa and Co. Prepared their minds. Nkrumah was calling. And don't forget, there is here also a historical hiatus. In the sense that that was not the first time Nkrumah was meeting, J.B. Dankwa, for instance. Nkrumah met J.B. Dankwa in London when, excuse me, Mussolini invaded the then Abyssinia, present-day Ethiopia. And that was precisely on 3rd October 1935. He met J.B. Dankwa in the company of other Gold Coasters. And what were they to do? They were to manifest against Mussolini invasion.
In what form? I mean, manifest how?
That is rally people to, just as how here we
speak against.
Not speaking against, holding placards here and there.
Okay.
So they went in there, and then Nkrumah, by that time, was on his way to begin his studies in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So he was staying with, relation, R.S. Wood, who had a house there. So R.S. Wood, head of, J.B. Dankwa and the rest there in Britain. For Hinmore was there, and R.S. Blee. So Nkrumah was introduced to R.S. Blee, for Hinmore, and then J.B. Dankwa. So J.B. turned and looked at Nkrumah and said, "Hey, young man, you appear intellectual. When you come back from Pennsylvania, join us." This is an academic discussion. My reference, Pan-African Movement, Emmanuel Guess, 1974. How is the Emmanuel Guess? The Emmanuel is spelled with I, Emmanuel, and the Guess, G-U-S-S. G-U-E.
Yes, I think guess.
Good.
Guess what?
Again, another Pan-African writer by name Tony Martin, 1983. the Pan-African connection from slavery to Marcus Garvey. 1983, Harvard. Page 121, 125. Nkrumah in Pan-Africanism. So, here, Nkrumah was, already sensitized of what he should do when he comes back to join UGCC.
Right.
Nkrumah came down to the Gold Coast, arrived 5th December 1947. And then look it. UGCC was launched 4th August 1947. Nkrumah arrived 5th December 1947. What is the duration? So people will feel that Nkrumah had never been around. It was just what is it called? Nkrumah was just, everything had been prepared before Nkrumah came. When Nkrumah arrived, the UGCC had not gotten, atlas. Only in Accra here, Saltpond, and then, other places.
And you also mentioned that he had been sensitized on what his role will be.
Precisely.
When he comes down.
Precisely.
Right.
Good. So Nkrumah came in and prepared, went all round. Now let's ask this question. Why did Nkrumah Disiamins himself leave UGCC and established the CPP? Again, another question will arise. In that, many a politician from the UP tradition will establish that, or will willingly wish to believe that the UP was the first political party in the Gold Coast, present-day Ghana. I say 9. I say Nyet. I say Nilzia. I say no. No.
Not true. Okay.
Why? Let's ask ourselves. UP or MPP today should rather thank Nkrumah, because it was out of Nkrumah's Avoidance of Discrimination Act of 3rd August 1956 that, out of this, that the UP was established. And what was the UP? Here, UP at that time was established by the mere amalgamation of political parties who were in opposition to Nkrumah. Take the case of the Northern People's Party of Mumuni Baumia, Mumuni Dumbuye, Mumuni Kori, and the rest. Take the party of now NLE, that is the National Liberation, of Dwaboase Akoto.
Okay.
The National Liberation Movement of Dwaboase Akoto. Gingerly anchored in Kumasi, Asantuma. Take the case of the TCP, Togoland Congress Party of Senyor Gatro Anto, otherwise known as SG Anto.
Wow.
And Kujo Ayeke is Bosum Busu. Take the case of the MPP, the then Northern People's Party of Mumuni Baumia, SG Dombo, Mumuni Kore, Mumuni Dumbi, and the rest of them. And MPP, that is the then Northern People's Party, was born 11th April 1954 in Tamale. Now, something interesting. Many an academic, many a politician have been gingerly trying to hide something from students, from the generality of Ghanaians. That is a political party formed by J.B. Dankwa. When he failingly failed to move ahead in politics, when he was ostracized by Aaron Oforata on the CPP bench, 1954. You remember, there were elections. 8 February 1951, 17 June 1954, 17 July 1956, and of course, the plebiscite at Mbuti, you remember. 9th May 1956. Before going to J.B. Dankwa's, new political party, let's look at the plebiscite. Many Ghanaians say Nkrumah forcefully, arrogated to himself that he had won, the plebiscite. No. Nkrumah had not got any jurisdiction. He had not got any aura of, jurisdiction.
Okay.
The plebiscite was gingerly organized by the United Nations, and a special constitutional expert was sent down in the name of Prieto Espinosa, a Mexican. Prieto Espinosa. And he organically organized the plebiscite. And the plebiscite was not entirely for the whole of Ghana, but the CPP and the Togoland Congress Party of Senor Gatro Anto, SG Anto, and his people, that bloody group, and the cock for Nkrumah. So what happened? To put the figures, approximately, the CPP won 97,000, whereas the Ablode people won 67,000 plus. So Nkrumah was declared, or the CPP was declared the winner, and then they decided what is it called. The Ablode had no other way than to come together to the Gold Coast. To go on march to independence.
That's right.
Now, let me quickly come back to what is it called, J.B. Dankwa's new political party. The Ghana Congress Party was led by J.B. Dankwa.
Ghana Congress Party.
Ghana Congress Party.
Wow.
And he went all around with that. Ghana Congress Party, the big man involved was Ni Ama Olenu was the vice.
Okay.
Then Sakishek of Takoradi was the general secretary. Now let's ask ourselves, those who may wish to disagree to agree with us should look out.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
And I'll give you a minute to let me just take a break. Let me bring in BOT at this moment, and not any idea where is here because and somebody be brain where she go now waka be see a NDC bobre ewo Oman Ghana manual 70 year free Kwame Nkrumah a person be see
sure
BOT.
I think I would love to go English, right? So let me take it from where Prof landed. NDC a Congress. Now, Obi be a student of politics.
Yeah.
Dan Bedia to Muse in the academia, no. And now Kwame Rollins fast over J mining tino. Some people who were beneficiaries of the rotten system created a bad impression against the Rollins regime. Until from AFRC, that gave birth to PDC, to PNDC1, PNDC2, to current day NDC, was somehow ostracized in the minds of many academians. It is in the academia, most of the writings were skewed against the Rollinses. For example, Rollins is symmetry Kalabuli. I hate hoarding. I hate profiteering. I hate economic rents. But Rollins never said that people should not set up businesses. Now Rollins' concern is say, one person must not make unnecessary profit at the expense of the states. Until the whole concept of AFRC is say, there was a need to truncate extreme corruption. Most academians, which Prof may find them to agree or to disagree, were of the thinking that Rollins was not much educated. And that a semi-educated personality like Rollins must not be the one to dictate the pace for Ghanaians. And the people's abhorrence towards Rollins was not because of Bronsam, but those professors, business tycoons, and academia felt that this guy who was just a military officer, and Obaya, we are seeing the many public to be junior Jesus. So, those some people in the religious sects also tempted to believe that Rollins' overpopularity was becoming blasphemous. Because how on earth could people sit down and say that
and equate it
to Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ. And the hatred for Rollins was somehow negatively selective.
And no be Nkrumah firm yana.
Precisely. Now, the difference between Rawlings and Nkrumah was highly educated. And I think we need to put the perspective right.
Okay.
Nkrumah was a doctor, was a writer, and let me be very honest, I haven't seen articles of Rawlings. But now you can say, you know, when you check through the academia, even outside Africa, there are some schools and Nkrumah writing a reference point. And in fact, European Union, which was former European Commission, adopted the 7-year development plan of Rawlings, which became the blueprint for developing the Schengen zone.
You mean Nkrumah?
Nkrumah
7-year development plan.
And in Nkrumah 7 development plan, European Union first, the European Commission. In Tabro, we transitioning from a commission to union, no. And Nkrumah plan no drafting ma Ghana, no. They adopted deadline who can sinker.
Wow.
And they call Europe. Okay, and the difference between Rawlings and Nkrumah in the academia is that a larger chunk of the academia found solace in Nkrumah because he was highly educated and a writer.
JB
No. When we are talking about serial prolific writers, you don't compare JB to Nkrumah.
Wow.
And in fact, we call Pan-Africanism across Africa. Now we call more libraries. You will find a chunk of Nkrumah's ideals being propagated. And you see, Nkrumah was very smart, and they were smartest of all politicians at this age. When Nkrumah realized that, he adopted NAM, non-aligned movement.
Yeah.
Nkrumah realized, say, at a point I will need the West, at a point I will need the East.
That's right.
If I told too much a line to the East, when it comes to the time for me to need the West, there will be a problem. And if there is any neutrality movement in the world, then I, Nkrumah, was subject Ghana to. And Nkrumah, therefore, did not kowtow to either the West or the East, but pontificated to NAM, non-aligned movement. However, Nkrumah had schooled in US and somehow in Britain, in UK. And he knew how these people behave. So Nkrumah, therefore, in his line of thinking and behaving, was pro against the West. So more Eastern Bloc. So Nkrumah ideology was quite socialist inclined. And it's over CPP. It was a mass-based approach. Don't forget that capitalism, which in a way I subscribe to, because the NDC today is an elevated version of welfare capitalist party, where the MPP is a pure capitalist party. Okay? And Nkrumah who say, and but in a given society, people must live certain minimum level of goodness. Inti I was any penny ajumaye. I was say man you may be to me free. Nkrumah realized say, okay, the northern part of Ghana, about natural resources they are shortened by no fault of theirs. But there is a certain natural resources how the money pa won't mean the education. Nkrumah then gave free education to the north.
Good. Okay. So
take it off.
So you can come in a prof.
With your permission.
Yeah.
This free education interests me. From here, I'll divert to, NDC Amam.
Yeah, that's
right.
And I wish to state ipso facto that all these discussions dedicated to no other person than Honorable Julius Debra. And why? I will state later on. Now, free education. Many a Ghanaian, especially our colleagues from the other side of the political divide, that His Excellency JDM, John Dramani Mahama, had free education. Northerners had free education. And even a female politician will have the naivety of establishing that if not free education in the North, I will not repeat it. Good. This lady, I believe, is not other abreast of political history. How did the free education come? And even not only in the north. Lagos, I remember, in the 70s, the main cafeteria, those days, and here they now use it as a lecture hall. When you eat, free education, you eat, you are not satisfied, you you throw the plate down, the people will clap and say, standards. Our time.
Wow.
Good. Now let me get back to the free education.
Yeah.
By 1954, Ghana had the self-government. And the then NTC, Northern Territories Council, during the session, that is the 15th session.
Prof, let me do this. We're getting complaints about our radio reception. Mr. Ma, mo sending a message say reception no emu shada na hoye na mo pese mutie prof any beauty. Mr. Ma da you guswa ye ho adwuma options no e do so either say obe hwe say obetuma betie wo TV no so na say o te say mo maye no obe ba Facebook no so ba radio no you guswa ye ho adwuma obe clearer anytime soon. Prof Twaso.
Good.
Go on ahead.
An MP, a parliamentarian by name, or a parliamentarian for Western Gonja, by name Emmanuel Adama Mama, Mama. And that is the biological father of GGM, the biological father of Afre Mama, the biological father of Peter and Mbaba. That is Ibrahim Mama. He tabled a motion, the Northern Territories Council, that look it. Here, we are about to get independence. So we would like to ask the colonial administration, the British government, with their representative here, such as Noble Adin Clark, that is the Governor General, the governor at that time. If we should get independence, the we here means Ghana should get independence, what will be the status of education? Mind you, don't forget, Ghanaians are not aware. No Northerner was allowed to come to the South for education. If you see by that time before independence, Northerners educated, it means they were born and bred here. Northerners were deemed by the colonial administration to do the manual work, and then work in the cocoa farms, work in the hospitals, and that's all. Now, the first Northern graduate, that is Alassane Banzaba, was sent to Cambridge by the missionaries. If you recall, the first woman minister in Ghana, Susan Alassane, that is the husband. He came down here. Unfortunately, the time of the birth of our present day JGM, you and I know, Beauty knows it better. That is 29th November 1958. Alassane died that day through lorry accident. So by 58, there was no graduates. And there was nothing like what is it called Northeast, Northwest, or what and what. That is Northern Territories. It was called. So, £8 million sterling was reserved. Let's listen very well. Beauty. I hope you are with me.
Sure. Yeah.
£8 million sterling was reserved for education in the North. And what did the Northerners do? They pushed this into the local councils for education. The £8 million sterling. Not only Northerners benefit here, I am old enough to have known this. Southerners who were there for education, school fees were paid by the local council.
Okay, for the sake of time, reconcile this with the NDC factor and why the NDC has played a significant role in Ghana's political landscape.
Wow. NDC had not manifestly come out to say that this is the path. This is the path. Good. Here, the power of the NDC had been underrated in the sense that they say NDC we don't write. So at least we've not given that exposure to know the direction. Here, erroneously, politicians try to include, as BOT has just explained, AFRCT and then PNDC era. Should we say here, during the time of Buzia, the CPP was excluded. Now who came in, that is Bedema, who won 69 seats, later on was, disorganized. He was, ejected from parliament. And then Adama to the side. Here, NDC problem is that, as I said, the people who should be given the opportunity to push our views upwards, they are not given the chance. Look at BOT, what is doing in the economic side. Look at, the Dean of Cape Coast University Business Faculty.
Professor John Gachi.
What is doing? Tamaklo Eduji.
He's the current director of legal affairs.
Well, just now.
For the NDC.
Just now. So all in all, the voices of NDC should go up. Now, here is a case. JDM. Why this type of discrimination? During the time of, or previously, where Ayekun Kufuor was there, many wrongs passed, no one blinked. Today, what is happening today in Ghana, if it had been the time of JDM, would not be there. And what is it? It is just a mere manifestation of something I call pepephobia.
What's that?
Pepephobia. In the sense that he's a paper man. And again, when Mama came to the political limelight, two types of malignant, diseases had happened. This generalized pepephobia, and those who may dash it aside will be deemed as pepephilists. Look at what is it called, BOT. Look at you. Look at them. Not from that side there, but the old mamas, these are the pepephilists. Appreciation of Mama. And again, Mama is suffering from a generalized disease I call mamaphobia. In the sense that anything Mama does, now offering no ajano.
Even when it's good.
Wow. So these are the things. Okay, let's leave this. It's so minor. Let's leave it aside. What should be done? All what we have to do right now as BOT have not been informed, but let me what is it called? Develop an okro mafia. There is something coming, something in the pipeline. Hashtag JGM Academic Lectures for Election 2024. Hashtag JGM Academic Lectures for 2024. Of course, we talk of economics in NDC. We cannot forget of.
And so your point is lectures like this.
Lectures like this and other manifestations. Other manifestations.
Yeah.
Let's ask ourselves. Look at the socio-economic situation in Ghana today.
BOG running at loss.
What is NDC doing? What is the NDC doing? If it had been that time of the MPP being in opposition, you have been manifestations, rallies.
What should the NDC be doing?
The NDC should up their game.
What are the specifics? What should the NDC be doing? Because I know they've been holding press conferences.
Press conferences is not enough.
There are intents of doing demonstrations and all that, regardless of the barriers they face. So what should they be doing?
Demonstrations alone. Give education to the youth. The youth want to know. I think when NDC was in opposition, the current general secretary has something we called, it was, what is it called?
Setting the records.
Setting the records.
Yeah.
These are things, not necessarily in Accra here. Let it go to the regions. Let them know what is missing here. The missing link in our political history. Look it. We are told that J.B. Dankwa was the founder of Ghana. I mean, how come it?
So NDC will come up with some. But BOT, let me bring in BOT. The Oki came in the baby Oki Kakwe. And yeah, dear NDC for your dada. Because when you say Bank of Ghana, dear, your friends say, Kasachi Juba, dear, Nanu ya, Coco, Ebwe, dear, Nano, Eriko Poku, Kodadia Swaba, Koya Kasachi. No, I've been a moye. And I mean,
what who say, Prof, I raised several interesting issues for debate. And it is for the general good. And nobody of the NDC's talk should have the inclination that he wants to run anybody down.
No.
Because Nkababia Prophet Dream, he has nothing to gain by being here this morning.
Absolutely.
After all, Mahama being the president 4 years says my man appointment.
Not at all.
When just typing that man, the only name I heard, which I agree with, they said this thing will be done in honor of former chief of staff, Chief Julius Zebra. That I align with his thinking. What I think is he has created this platform. Platform here it is okay say Nedia. So China Bufu no case or NC akwa trying to lances nobody can do him foco, you get the point. So for him, crediting it to him for me is commendable. And what we say a very important question said, the very things are all reasonable. Are they not being done? Oliver Tosin never stop asking for more. So the Baku school near my terminal reporter, the touch there is more room for improvement. I think, in my candid view, in MPP quest for power from 2009 to 2016, the MPP did it differently. I mean, politics is a game of perception. In politics, the woman perceives who no GD. Politics is a game of micromanagement. It is a Obi wo Bono East, Bono Ahafo, Central Region. The audacious no part de bia otino. It forms an impregnable opinion in his mind. I think in the end, you are feeling that endeavor. I will not sit here to whitewash. I was an MPP, and I knew then how from 2009 we mounted spirited public discourse. I mean, politics and called agenda setting.
The end is in the MPP.
We have failed in that endeavor.
That's right.
No.
Okay.
I'm coming to that. I am not here to say you should copy and paste. Okay? But the truth may be a copy and paste be to the result of that. China's development has been so because China copy you and improve upon it. What is it that we can copy from our political opponents and improvise? Are we sinking the message enough to the people? Ghana for a firm, Woyo Misika inflation of 51 million Ghana cedi, no? It became a trump card. Baby. But I tell you, say, so far Woyomi, now for Bank of Ghana, Woyomi Sikano is an infinitesimal point of 60.8 billion Ghana cedi. But a ne opa Kwame Minkah says here, Komalata, ko Makola, ko Techima, ko Kejetia, ko Kumase. Ne raise the Woyomi Sikano. Ne raise the Bank of Ghana Sikano. Ghana for Bekai Woyomi Diano more than Bank of Ghana. And the question is that who is not making the public to appreciate it? In every politics, you must first win the argument before the election day. And here, I will say this openly, without fear of any equivocation. The MPP does it better. They let people appreciate the quality of the issue. And it's as Adini Swakra na MPP befa Tony as a wako kejetia na atutuboton for no. Obetumi aton mobile phone amount 20 million. Ube Kofi na boy 1 million Ghana cedi. I am not saying that we should copy their negativity to punish Ghanaians. But so long as we want power, no, power is all about
because
perception.
I don't know.
But we must not lie.
They said
but we should let people know the truth.
Dubai.
Don't forget that the MPP is the opposite version of the NDC. The MPP is elitism at the top, and they care less about the proletarians. So you have the bourgeois and the proletarian, the case class. Over NDC is a grassroots-led political party. And looking at the cadre system was so vibrant under the Rawlinses regime. Do you realize, say, adeɛ na nkema NDC enya ahoden no we seem to be some way somehow departing from it because Kwame Minkah wadeɛ ba so offer the local organization structure of MPP in NDC the polling station executive of MPP is 5 branch executive is conterminous to polling station NDC is 9 and by mere comparing leadership at the local level of MPP in NDC no NDC is superior to the MPP and it's a nipa 9 air cotton wasem na nipa 5 air cotton wasem one day was a turn in them. Now don't forget that
yeah
the NDC by virtue of its ideological bloc now is a social democratic party right from 1989 1981 all the way to 2002 the NDC has not formalized its political ideology. In the year 2002 the party realized there is a way to conceptualize the ideology. So in 2002, the NDC agreed say a philosophy a social democracy. In conclusion, that social democracy Kwame is pillared on 5 things. One, a welfare capitalism, which means say any se man many pekuma bi di na ye jado do no wachi. And you must promote equity. 2, a solidarity. And that gave birth to comradeship. And until I say NDC muna so be kasa, they refer to any other person as a comrade. 3rd, a freedom. Look, NDC by more. We are political enemy because you know be witch hunted. And it has been corroborated by Canada Japan say NDC crab by the political party, his business does not suffer. They try to justice. It was very hard. Ubaka Dr. Kwabnaje the late. NDC Kokota no lose case or Kokot no lose case. And Modi Abufoka said there are several ways in killing a cat.
Yeah.
That should tell you son the NDC justice was not sold to the highest bidder. And now you can the MPP National Security Minister Timothy Kambre Judge say Martin Buana Mubuano negatively skewed. So Uputu Nyama way together. There is a new face of NDC called Mahamaism, which me I subscribe to. Because under Mahama he was much invested in infrastructure. And this Kwame Minkah ye me kwan ba kwan na trade your way. Hadn't na make kasa. So to chrome na say o kwan ya emanuane boyefo o can say. Into this kind of public lecture Prof want to bring out, I share in it and I'll be part of it.
Very well.
Because Tom Mahama the way was your turn no.
Very well.
Obeba begin the second term beginning to not see the utility out of his government.
Prof, unfortunately, my time is up.
Wait, there is something very. Can you give me some few minutes?
We would have to go. Just some seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, that will really help.
As Beauty has just referred to, there is a book coming out, which is known as Ghana in Election 2024. NDC in national politics, I speak of Mahamaism as the inside story to NDC. Going successfully in election 2020. And who is this Mama? Let me, what is it called? Be honest. My acronym for Mama is a man always humble and maximally assertive. MAHAMA. A man always humble and maximally assertive. And what is Mamaism? Mamaism stands for peace, unity, stability, and economic hope.
Very well.
That is PUSH, push Mahama through election 2024.
Prof, our time is up. Professor Matheson, thank you so much. And Professor Bernardo Drew touch me that say, William, I'm as a prof, we support you. Williams, as I said, BOT that say, and in church, their brain, Reku, and as I see how MPP are suffering, all because of their hatred for John Dramani Mahama. Any of the mobile CD, we need 1,000. I told the bottom dada. Ajimani power nie or the power mid morning Abraham was the same. Kwame Minkah channel for every samba na ya sambo boga. Bye bye.